Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you are new. My name is Heather. I'm a homeschooling mom of 3 kids, elementary, middle, and high school age. Today I am going to be doing my June goals as well as my May goals progress. So that is what we're going to work on today. This is my May goals, and I do these goals in my Erin Condren Life Planner. This is the weekly life planner. This will be the last month that I do my goals in this video, and then I will move into my new planner for July through June of next year. So I did get quite a bit done. I didn't finish doing all of the check marks. All right, okay, let me just finish up this. Okay, so the first thing, May was crazy for us this month. We had a ton of birthdays. We did all of the birthday things. I completed our end of year teacher reviews for homeschooling. I did spring clean the basement, and I do have a video if you're interested in seeing all of that craziness. It was over several weeks that I did that, so it's kind of like pieces over several weeks for that vlog. I did work on my budget planner, and I've actually decided to use a monthly planner for budgeting going forward. Which is so funny because that's what I used in 2022. And I thought I needed something different for 2023, or maybe it was 2021 that I used a monthly planner. I can't remember now. But I wasn't doing as much spend tracking. Well, I wasn't doing any spend tracking last year or previously. But this year I am doing a lot of spend tracking, and so the monthly planner is going to work out for me. Those will be released, I think, June 6th. I'm not sure on the designs. I'm not sure if there's new parts of the layouts. I have not seen anything about the new monthly planners, but I am excited to order mine. I did do my main homeschool workshop on May 8th, and that went great. I had a lot of wonderful participation, and I think that it went really well. This is a pre-recorded asynchronous workshop. So if you are a Maine homeschooler and you're new to homeschooling in Maine and would like to check that out, I will leave a link for that in the description box. Switching out clothes and getting sneakers, I did some of that. I got all of the clothes switched out, and we did get Emma new sneakers. Jack and Lucy, we still need to get sneakers, but we just have not had a chance to. Create my morning basket, I did not do that. I did purchase the new Inspire Organizer Caddy from Erin Condren, which I absolutely love, and I have some great ideas on how to use that and organize it, but I just have not set it up yet. And I feel like I kind of need to get through June before I can set that up, mainly because June is not going to be a good month for me to implement new parts to my morning routine because it's going to be so busy. And so I am going to be working through Modern Miss Mason, which I've already read in January when it came out, but I will include that in my morning time routine, but I'm not going to have a lot extra in there. And instead, what I'm going to do is hold off on my morning basket until July when we start our new homeschool year. And then I did do my monthly reset at the end of May, and that went really well. And I will have a vlog up of that later in the month. Yes. So, and then for my weekly rhythms, homeschool planning I did every week. Even though we're not doing curriculum right now, I am focusing on planning for next year. So I just try and do a little bit each week, which I did. Weekly planning I did every week. Spend tracking I did most weeks. There were a couple of weeks that I just did not do it, and I just need to get better at it. But it was partly because I think it was in the middle of April, I started using my daily duo to track my to do my spend tracking on that blank page between Sunday and Monday, but I ended up deciding to use a monthly planner instead because I really missed that weekly blank lined page between Sunday and Monday for like a brain dump list for the week ahead. So I struggled a little bit. Garden chores I did most weeks. We have most of our garden in, which I'm really happy about. I still have a lot of winter squash that I don't know what to do with. So I have to figure out where I'm going to plant that. I might need to get some more soil from the garden center. We'll see. I did send out my email every week, and we were doing something fun with the family every week. A lot of it was birthday related, but we did have some other fun things going on as well. And then for my daily habits, I feel like I did a good job. I didn't really try to do anything new. I've been working on these dailies for my home management as well as my rhythms and routines goals, and that is just these 4 simple tasks that help to keep my main living space kind of organized, I guess, and clear of clutter and just cleaned up so that it's not overwhelming to me. Visual clutter really bothers me, so having these 4 little tasks has been super helpful for me to keep on top of things. So I was doing Bible every day this month. I'm finishing up reading the New Testament chronologically. I talked about this a little bit in my summer refresh goals video, which I posted yesterday, about how I had started with the Eden to Eternity chronological Bible study, but instead of starting in the Old Testament, which is, if you're reading it chronologically, that's where you would typically start, I started in the New Testament, and I think I'm actually going to choose a few books, or maybe 1 or 2 books that I can work through for the remainder of the year. I haven't figured that out yet, and I'm expecting to finish my Bible reading through the New Testament by the end of June. Reading every day I did, however, usually my reading is a long time, like at night I will read for a really long time, but that was not the case this month. The read, even though I gave myself a check mark, because I will give myself a check mark if I read at all, because I just want to make sure that I am reading something every day, whether it's an audiobook, whether it is reading a physical book, a nonfiction book, a fiction book, whatever it is. But my time that I was reading was oftentimes only 5 or 10 minutes in the evening before I would crash. So there wasn't a whole lot of reading going on in the month of May. I did finish some books. I did read one called The Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros, which was awesome. I loved it, and it ended on a cliffhanger, and the next book doesn't come out until November. So that was a little bit of a bummer, but I did read every day. My dailies, I did most days. Some of the days I just wasn't able to complete everything, so I would get a check mark on dailies if I did all 4 tasks. If I didn't do all 4 tasks, then I did not give myself the check mark, but I did pretty good, and I feel really good about these dailies. I am still listing them on my daily planner. I list them each day, and then I just check them off as well. I think that has been very helpful to have it on my daily planner. So that's kind of where we're at. Now I am going to start figuring out what to do for June, because I'm actually not quite sure yet. Okay guys, so this is how I set up my monthly goals. I separate them into monthly projects, weekly rhythms, and then daily habits. And they do all go back to what my overall goals for the year are. I did realize as I was recording my summer refresh that it seems like a lot of my goals are relationship bound, and that is a good thing, because that is my most important thing, to make sure that I am cultivating the relationships in my life, especially with my family, my kids, my husband, and my extended family, all of that kind of stuff. But I realized that everything kind of relates back to those relationships, and I take the time for relationship building over a lot of other tasks that could potentially be happening throughout the month. So we'll see. This month is really going to be focused a lot on homeschool planning, because we typically start our new homeschool year in July, and so that honestly really needs to be my focus in June, but we are also super busy. So we will see how this goes. Now, I am just putting Homeschool Plan and Prep on here, and then what I'm actually going to do, I'm not going to do that on camera, but my plan and prep is going to be a lot on this goal action plan, and it's mainly getting all of my instructor's guides put together, making sure that I figure out a good way to utilize the instructor's guides, because there are so many different resources that we're using for all 3 kids. It can get a little confusing, and it's also a little challenging because I do not follow day by day everything that is listed. I do try to keep up with most things weekly, but we do shift things around, and because of that, it does cause a little bit of a headache as far as keeping track of the instructor's guides. So we'll see. So I will use these goal action plans to break down this project much farther. I will have Homeschool Plan and Prep as a weekly rhythm, just so that I am working on it weekly, and that will be finishing up this whole project. I hope that that makes sense to you. I won't have it as a daily habit, even though I probably will work on it quite frequently in the month of June. The next thing that I have is to set up all of my new planners for the new year. I run our planners, my planners are July through June, essentially. I do usually have 18-month planners. I will be getting the new monthly planner when that comes out and setting it up for my budget. So I have a lot of stuff that I need to do with regards to that. And that all relates to my home management goal as well as this rhythms and routines goal. So I'm actually going to use this color because it's also part of Slow Money. So 2 out of the 3 goals are this color, so that's what I'm going to use. And again, I use a bunch of different planners, and you know, you don't have to, and it might be too much for you. It is what works for me. Surprisingly, it's not all that overwhelming because I separate everything out into different planners so that it's not as overwhelming. But the planners that I need to set up are my weekly planner. I also have my daily duo, which I will be starting a new book in July. Those are 6-month planners. I don't really set up my daily duo with like the monthly calendar, but I just use the daily pages and the notes pages between Sunday and Monday. That's generally what I use the daily planner for. The monthly planner, monthly calendar that I keep track of all of our stuff is in my weekly planner. So same thing with the dashboard pages. I don't use the dashboard pages in my daily planner for anything. I do goal setting and all of that stuff in my weekly planner. So I probably don't even need a 7x9 daily duo. When I started using a daily planner from Erin Condren, I got the A5 size, which I really liked. And then I ended up changing over to the 7x9 because I was keeping track of all of my goals stuff in my daily planner, my tending list stuff. I do actually have a goals planner right here, my Lloydstrom notebook. So that's where I'm doing all of my brain dumps and action plans and plan and prep for goals, journaling, all of that stuff. But at the beginning of January, I started using this for my goals on the dashboard pages because I wasn't using this weekly planner at all. I had tried to use the home planner from Passionate Penny Pincher. It's really funny to me that I tried all of these new systems starting in the fall of 2022. I was really working on streamlining my planning process and trying to change things to make it easier for me. And honestly, what has ended up happening is I am back in all of the same things that I was using before. I don't know why I tried to switch it up, but I didn't need to because here it is, June, and I am in all of the same planners that I've been using essentially since 2014. The next thing that I have, which isn't really homeschool related, but it is kind of, is VBS, which is not necessarily a monthly project for me. But during that week, my kids volunteer, well, my older 2 volunteer and my youngest attends VBS for the week. And so I use that for a lot of planning and getting ready for the new school year, as well as just renewal and trying to recenter myself and give myself some self-care time and just time to sit and do nothing. That is part of that time as well. So this, even though I'm putting VBS as my monthly project, it's really just to figure out what I'm going to be doing during that week, and map it out, because if I don't plan it ahead of time, it's very easy for those hours to just disappear. It's, hours just always seem to disappear. And unless you're intentional about them, and you don't always have to be intentional about every single moment of every single day, but sometimes it is very helpful to do that. So the next thing on my list that I'm going to work on for monthly projects is my daily habit tracker. And this ought to probably be 2 different colors, because I also need to work on my kids' rhythms for starting the new year. I have this printable that I've made years ago. It's just pretty much a grid daily habit tracker, and what I typically do is I'll write the month up here, and whichever kid it is, and then I write down all of the subjects and chores and other things that I want my kids to work on in a given month. And this is mainly so that I can keep track of it for my end of year teacher reviews, just so that I know what I'm doing each month. It's also something that I revisit at the end of the month and say, oh, okay, well, we only did science a few days this month, so maybe we ought to do science more, or there were 2 weeks when my kids didn't do their chore for some reason. Why is that? It's just another piece of data that I can look at and help my kids build habits, because they like to check things off, but also have a good understanding of what they're actually doing in a given month. But I also use these in my own habit building, and what I plan to do is write out the things that I want to do during the different blocks of time, because I time block my day, especially once we get to homeschooling. I have, between 4 and 7 is typically my AM routine, work and some other stuff. From 7 to 9, it's kind of getting ready for the day, going for a walk when it's nice out, getting the kids breakfast and cleaning up from breakfast. And then typically we have our homeschool block, the dedicated time that I am homeschooling with the kids from 9 to noon. And then my older kids do more work in the afternoon, and this is when I do different projects and stuff. So what I'm trying to do is come up with a list of things that I want to do during those blocks of time, just to make sure that I'm on track, and because again, it's very easy for time to slip away. And then just to figure out what I want my kids' rhythms to look like once we start school. In July, we do a slow start, so we do not start all of our subjects in July. We usually start the subjects that take the longest to complete, or new subjects that, if we're using new resources and trying to work through that. My kids do not do full days of school in July, but we do start in July and get a head start on the work that we need to complete for the year. So I need to work on that. My brother's birthday is this month, and he is turning 40, which is crazy. So we're going to be doing some stuff for him for his birthday, which I'm really excited about. And in fact, they are usually visiting for several weeks in the summer, so kind of preparing for that. It's, the end of June, beginning of July that we are doing all of those things. Then the next thing that I need to do is my fall projects list. Now, I already have kind of projects in a bunch of different places, and I think that I've had these lists on my goals in previous months, but I just want to make sure that I have dates for certain things, like cleaning our stove, getting our water tested, getting the septic pumped, the furnace serviced. All of those things need dates attached to them, so that I know when I have to be here and such, because the fall is typically very busy. So there is that. And then let's see, I think that the only other thing that I have, memory boxes, because I want to start sorting through the memory boxes that are in the unfinished part of our basement. I'm not sure how far I will get, and I don't really have like an end date that I need to finish that by. It's just something that I want to start working on. Again, I don't know if I'll have a ton of time this month to work on that. And the memory boxes, it's not just like photos and stuff, it's also the homeschool boxes that I have down in the basement as well, because every year I keep everything that my kids do and I just throw it in a bin. And that was the easiest way when I had like Lucy as an infant and I was still homeschooling Jack and Emma, and that it just kind of continued that way because I didn't have the brain space to figure out how much I actually wanted to keep. We're not really required to keep everything in my state for records. I think that, we only need to keep some, like a few things, but I just keep everything because better safe than sorry in my book. So, but I do need to start going through that stuff. And that's something the kids want to do with me. So that's why I have no end date in mind, because I feel like it's probably going to take quite a while. Then I am going to put weekly planning here, and that is going to be my budgeting. It's going to be my, my spend tracking, my regular weekly planning that I do. I do have some plan with me's if you're interested in seeing those. Where I kind of go through my process. It's a little bit different every week, but it's always good for me to write this down. If I don't write it down and I don't see it, I don't necessarily do it. You would think it would be a habit, and for the most part it is, but sometimes Sundays I'm not thinking about planning, especially in the summer. And when I don't do Sunday planning, my weeks don't go as smoothly. So I just need to take the time. It does not take me very long at all. I essentially just do a brain dump in my daily planner, and then I write out everything in my weekly planner. Just I put the projects that I want to accomplish on specific days. If I have appointments or anything like that, I just get all of that stuff put in here so that when I'm doing my daily plan, I make sure to prioritize these particular projects or tasks, and then make sure that I am accounting for appointments that I have. And then the other weekly rhythm that is kind of with I don't know if I want to put this under, I think I'm going to put it under home management. It's garden checks. I just need to get out there and make sure that I am weeding and that I am checking for pests. I usually try to go out every day, but I want to at least do it weekly. So that isn't a lot for weekly rhythms this month, and honestly, the only new one is the garden check, and that's only because we only garden during the summer. So not a ton for monthly projects, number of projects wise, although there are multiple steps to a lot of these. And then these are pretty much general things, not really building new rhythms at the moment, just because I don't have a ton of time this month. Okay. So then for my daily habits, again, this is going to be pretty much the same as it normally is. I do want to put garden on here, even though it's also on my weekly rhythms. I would like to get out there every day. I'm going to put read. I am going to put AM routine here, which is going to be, I'm not going to write out what it is. It's my Bible coffee plan, and then also my nonfiction reading. That is the only additional thing. I have been doing a lot of nonfiction reading in the morning, but not the past 2 months. It was more the first quarter of the year, so I want to get back to that. But I'm not going to write that down. Oh, maybe I should. Yeah, I will write it down. All right, so I will put Bible, coffee, plan. Does one really need to put coffee down? No. So this is my normal morning routine. It is my bare bones morning routine that if I only have 30 minutes, I'm still doing these things. But the nonfiction reading is going to be the additional thing. And that is most likely going to be Modern Miss Mason. I think I already mentioned that. And then the last daily habit is going to be my dailies, which I listed out last month. Yes, I listed them out last month, but this month I'm not going to list them, and I will only get the check if I do all 4 of them. So this is my June goals for 2023. I am going to add some stickers in here too, just to get everything kind of pretty. So I don't really have a ton for this month, but I do also feel like I have a ton of stuff. I know it's really weird. I think that it's mainly because Emma and Jack are both working this summer, which is new. That's not something that they typically do, but they are going to be working a little bit this summer, so that is really fun. But that's going to kind of throw off our schedule. Emma is taking driver's ed, which is taking up an awful lot of time in the month. So there's that, and I have a bunch of meetings in the month that is not typical. So in the evenings, and so that kind of throws off my normal rhythm of June, which is kind of a catch-up month after the busyness of May. But because May was super busy and now June is also going to be super busy, yeah. I'm not sure how July is going to go, and that worries me a little bit because that's when we start homeschool, and if I do not feel rested, I won't feel like we can start and really accomplish what we need to. So I'm a little worried about it, but I know that season is coming. This busy season is coming to a close, and I'm hoping that July and August are more relaxing months for us. Even though we will be doing some school things, we have a lot of time in our day. We are not homeschooling for 8 hours a day. Okay, let's see, garden. So those are the colors for my goals, and then I will put some stickers on here just to decorate things a little bit. Now, typically on this side, I will put things that I want to watch, new movies that are coming out. I also put my weekly focus over here. Now, I have been putting my big purchases right here, and I guess I will put that here for the time being. I haven't quite figured out how I want to attack this, if this is more of like a brainstorm and then I put it into my monthly planner that is for budgeting. I used to keep track of eggs down here, but I'm not doing that at the moment. We are getting 10 eggs a day, every single day. We have been for quite a while, so I don't really feel like I need to track it. I know that John Wick already came out, John Wick 4, but I want to watch that. I know that Transformers, the new Transformers movie is coming out, and I love the Transformers movies. I know some people don't really like those, but I love all of those action movies. And even if the plot is sometimes questionable, I still enjoy them. All right, so that's on June 9th. The Flash is also coming out this month, which I really want to see. Although I will not go see these movies in the theater. But I will write them down so that I can keep track of them, and then we tend to either rent them or buy them at home. Taking my whole family to go to the movies is very expensive, and so I would rather buy 3 brand new movies than to take everybody to the movies. That's just my personal preference. And then Indiana Jones is coming out at the end of the month as well, which I don't care about, but my husband does. It's funny because I do like a lot of action movies. I'm not a big Indiana Jones fan, so there's that. And I actually, with The Flash, the kids and I want to do a whole DC chronological watching of the newer DC movies. We love Marvel, and DC has not been my favorite. I loved all the Batman movies growing up, but the different iterations of Batman, all of the different actors that played Batman. But yeah. Okay, so let's see. What are my weekly focuses going to be? I know these 2 weeks are going to be homeschool, family fun here. And then the first week is just going to be catch up because we have a ton of appointments and other things going on during the week. So it's really not going to be a lot of anything besides making sure that the laundry is done and I have food in the house. Okay. I'm not sure on big purchases this month, so I'm going to wait on that. So this is kind of a glance at my monthly goals for the month of June. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you have questions about anything that I talked about or want to know resources that I'm using or whatnot, please let me know in the comments, or you can always email me. My contact form is always in the description box. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks, guys. Bye.